What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Wednesday, August 28th, 2024, and I have an emergency update to share with you guys. Right now it is 15:15 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Europe and the Middle East. So a lot has been going on over the last 48 hours, and I'm very concerned about something big happening. I think we're going to see a major escalation in Eastern Europe and also in the Middle East. So before I get into all the foreign news, I want to just show you what we got going on over the U.S. this afternoon. We currently have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert yet again. Another presidential doomsday plane up in the air this afternoon. It was looping over the Texas Panhandle. We also have two aerial refuelers flying over the 341st Missile Wing in Montana. That's where we have 1/3 of our land-based ICBMs. We also have a nuke sniffer plane going to Colorado Springs right now, and it was flying with its tracker turned off, and these planes can detect radiation in the atmosphere, and it's landing in Colorado Springs, which is where Cheyenne Mountain Doomsday Bunker is located. We also have two sub hunters off the east coast of Florida here. So the hunt for Red October continues off the U.S. East Coast and in the Gulf. So get prepared, guys. There's just so much going on. I just cannot believe how many headlines I have to share with you. And I didn't do an update yesterday. I was feeling tired, and also I was putting up the antenna for my new radio so we can have our own radio on the live streams to listen to the nuclear forces and various radio frequencies worldwide. So that should be coming online by the end of this week. Hopefully, if everything works out good, I'll have it plugged into the live streams, the 24/7 streams. By the end of this week, we will have 24/7 radio coverage on the 24/7 streams, controlled by me, 100% reliability all the time. So we have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East. The spokesman for the White House National Security Council, John Kirby, said yesterday that Iran is now preparing for an attack against Israel and is poised and postured, and that the U.S. will defend Israel when that happens. Now, earlier today, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, visited troops in northern Israel. This is huge, guys, for him to go up there. I can't remember the last time he's been there. So it does appear that Israel is preparing for a ground campaign into southern Lebanon. He said to the soldiers there that only we can return the residents back to the northern part of Israel, meaning all the 100,000 or more Israelis that left northern Israel because of the constant Hezbollah bombardments. He said only we can bring them back, meaning the military. Okay, so he is preparing to go into southern Lebanon. It's just a matter of time. And Syrian media is now reporting that Israel has been massing troops and forces in the Golan Heights. Okay, so that is a huge sign. Want to update you guys on the situation in Eastern Europe. It's really getting crazy over there. So here we have the Director General of the IAEA, Rafael Grossi. The IAEA is the International Atomic Energy Agency. It's part of the UN. He visited a Russian nuclear power plant called the Kursk Nuclear Power Plant yesterday. And this is a power plant that is literally just 10 miles away from active fighting going on between Ukrainian forces and Russian forces in Russia. Okay, this is the area where Ukraine invaded Russia, and Ukraine is now just a few miles away from this power plant. Russia claims that Ukraine sent a drone towards this power plant and that Ukraine tried to hit it. But what's very concerning about this power plant is that the reactors are the same type of reactors that were in Chernobyl, or that are in Chernobyl, okay? The RBMK reactors that were built at the same time as the Chernobyl reactors. So they don't have a proper containment dome like most modern nuclear reactors have. A giant concrete containment dome that's made of like several feet of concrete. So if there's any explosion or detonation or meltdown, that concrete dome contains the radiation and prevents any debris from going up into the air or anything becoming aerosolized. And that's what happened in Chernobyl. Is there was the explosion and everything went up into the air. There was no containment dome, and the Kursk nuclear power plant is the same type of power plant, okay? No containment dome at all, okay? Because the Soviets didn't believe in safety and they were trying to cut costs and they wanted to just produce as many power plants as possible. Okay, they never expected that their power plants would come under attack in the future. So they just built these nuclear power plants like crazy without proper safety. And so this is very serious because, number one, if there's a meltdown, we could have another Chernobyl situation. Number two, if there's any military activity going on around this power plant, and let's say an artillery shell hits the reactor, you don't have several feet of concrete protecting the reactor like in the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, where you have those giant concrete blocks all around it protecting it from any kind of projectiles, okay? So this is very, very serious, but this is what he posted. He said, and before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing their most aggressive discount yet on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewith.NYPrepper.com. They've lowered the price of their 3-month food supply from $800 down to $500. 3 months of emergency food for $500. That is a really good deal, and it will last you 25 years because it is freeze dried and it's all packed within 6 rugged water resistant buckets. So you have all that food in a small package. You can store that pretty much anywhere. And you can also take it with you. If you have to bug out, you can throw that in your vehicle easily. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $300 off the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, $500 for it. Also, they have free shipping and handling included. In addition to the 3-month supply, they also have a general store. And to get to their general store, you got to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see the My Patriot Supply logo at the very bottom of the page. You click on that, and it'll take you to their general store, and they have all kinds of discounts. And to get the deals, you got to use my link, preparewithnyprepper.com, and I'll leave the link in the description below this video. Was at the Russian Kursk nuclear power plant today, where the situation is serious. Preventing a nuclear accident in this terrible war is vital, and attacking any nuclear power plant is unacceptable, no matter the location. So he just shared some pictures here. Okay, here he is in the control room, and then here he is, looks like in the reactor, possibly looking at maybe control rods or something. But this is very, very serious, guys. Very, very serious situation over there. And want to update you guys on the Russian drone that flew into Poland. So we're now hearing that this drone flew in Polish airspace for 33 minutes and traveled as much as 30 kilometers, or about 20 miles. And the Polish military stated that they were prepared to shoot down the suspected drone, but they were unable to positively identify it due to weather. Supposedly, this was stated by Lieutenant Colonel Jacek Goryszewski. He said this to RMF 24 News. The identification had to take place before the decision to neutralize the object was made. However, this final identification did not take place due to the weather conditions. I don't know if I believe that or not. It's possible, but I'd have to go back and check what the weather was like during this strike. I don't recall that there was any bad weather over there, but this was in southeastern Poland, and this was near the village of Tyszowce, which is about 20 miles from the Ukrainian border. The Polish military was supposedly searching for wreckage, which means that the drone either crashed over there or they shot it down, one of the two, okay? And now Poland is talking about raising its GDP spending on military to 5% next year, up from 4.1% this year, which will make them the largest spenders on military in all of Europe. Okay, so they're at 4% now. They're going to raise their spending to 5% of GDP, which is massive. Okay, and speaking of Poland, there was a massive amount of reconnaissance over Poland yesterday and the day before. I want to just show you guys some stuff here. Here we have pictures coming out of Belarus near the Ukrainian border, and we have Belarusian military vehicles with a new tactical marking on them. You can see this letter B. If you remember when Russia invaded Ukraine, they used the Z symbol. Well, now Belarusian forces are massing on the border of Ukraine, and they have this B on their vehicles. This looks like a fuel truck, and you can see they put like moss and leaves on it to try to break up the outline. And then here you have some T-72s from Belarus massing on the border of Ukraine. Here we have a bunch of Belarusian military trucks on the border of Ukraine. And then here they are at a train unloading. Check this out. You can see the B right there, okay, on this T-72, but dozens and dozens of these tanks unloading from this train right on the border of Ukraine. Now, Ukraine has already warned Belarus and said, if you don't move your forces away from our border, out of artillery range from our border, then we are going to strike any base inside of Belarus, anywhere, okay? Any base inside of Belarus is fair game for targeting, okay? So if Belarus doesn't back away from the Ukrainian border, Ukraine is going to start sending missiles and drones into Belarus, and Ukraine has those F-16s now. They have long-range missiles. They have long-range drones, so they can really cause chaos for Belarus, okay? And Germany is now saying that the Russians were going to commit sabotage using drones at NATO's Gelsenkirchen Air Base. This was reported by Deutsche Presseagentur Agency, or DPA, citing German intelligence. Okay, so German intelligence is reporting this, and this is the base that went on lockdown last week. If you remember, it went on lockdown for like 24 hours. Okay, so they're saying that the Russians were going to use drones to sabotage the base, and at this base there's 14 E-3 Sentry AWACS planes. Okay, these are radar planes with sensors capable of detecting air and surface targets at long distances, which would be critical if there was any kind of a war in the Baltics or in Eastern Europe. They need these AWACS planes. So this is very, very concerning. And Ukrainian forces have opened a new front in Russia and are now starting to break through the Russian border in the Belgorod region. Okay, so just like I told you guys 2 weeks ago when they started the Kursk offensive, they've already tried to go into Bryansk. Now they're trying to go into Belgorod. So Ukraine wants to take the Belgorod, Kursk, and Bryansk oblasts, and the reason why they want to do that is for negotiation purposes, okay? They want to basically trade, I think they want to trade land with Russia and basically say, listen, you give us back Zaporizhia and Kherson and some of the other oblasts, and we'll give you back Kursk and Belgorod and Bryansk. I think that's what Ukraine is trying to do. I could be wrong. And then secondarily, they're trying to push the Russians away from their border and create a buffer zone, okay? Now, here we have all this reconnaissance activity over Poland. This was on Monday night into Tuesday. This was basically the day after that drone flew into Poland. So what's very concerning about this is this plane right here off the coast of Kaliningrad, Jake 27, which is a combat sentinel plane, and the U.S. military only has 2 of these planes in their inventory, and these planes can detect radars, and they can pinpoint the location of radars and missile systems, and then they can send that information directly to the president and the top generals. Okay, so we only have 2 of them, and they send their information directly to the president and the Joint Chiefs. So that means if they're flying somewhere, something serious is going on. And so this thing was circling here or looping off the coast of Kaliningrad, and it was flying very, very low at some point here. You can see the light green color there. That means it was flying very low. And we do know that Russia has several bases here. They have their Baltic Fleet base here in Baltisк, and then they also have a base up in northwestern Kaliningrad near Lithuania, where they have a bunch of attack aircraft, and they also have missile bunkers and radar facilities there. Okay, then they also have another massive base in like central Kaliningrad. And then at the same time, we also had a Swedish reconnaissance plane here and another U.S. Air Force reconnaissance plane flying parallel to the border of Russia here in Poland. Okay, so this is very, very serious, guys. I have never seen that before. Here's the Swedish reconnaissance plane patrolling the eastern border of Poland with Belarus. And then Estonia was keeping an eye on its border with Russia, flying back and forth, back and forth. So something's brewing here, guys. This is very serious. And then we also had this German Air Force sub-hunter off the coast of Kaliningrad in the Baltic Sea, flying really low here. Okay, probably a P-3 Orion based on its call sign, Orion 08. So lots of reconnaissance activity the last 2 days in Poland and in the Baltics. Guys, Russia sent a drone into Poland on purpose, okay? They sent that drone into Poland to see what Poland's air defenses are like. They've already sent several missiles into Poland. Now they're starting to send drones to see how Poland reacts to drones. Okay, they can learn a lot by doing this, because if they ever were to strike Poland, they would know what Poland's capable of. Okay, here we had an aerial refueler over central Poland refueling some aircraft that had their trackers turned off. We had a Russian Air Force plane go to Kaliningrad as well yesterday. And we had this British reconnaissance plane flying really, really low and like making hundreds of loops here in the English Channel. This is very unusual and very concerning. And then we also had a lot of activity in the North Sea, a lot of reconnaissance activity. There was an F-35 flying in the North Sea yesterday. There was this German reconnaissance plane in the North Sea, and then there was also a tanker plane in the North Sea as well. Here's another sub-hunter off the coast of Kaliningrad. This was yesterday. Absolutely insane. Another German reconnaissance plane near the North Sea. And then here we have a British reconnaissance plane that was patrolling the coast of Romania, but it was looking at Western Crimea. Okay, so it was checking to see what the Russian bases are doing in Western Crimea and feeding that information to the Ukrainians. And Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, issued a decree to create military administrations in Polochy and Vasilivka in the Zaporizhia region, which are currently occupied by the Russians. So that's pretty interesting, and that could be a sign that Ukraine is going to try to go into these areas and take it over, because why would you create a military government administration if you're not going to try to occupy something? And Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov stated that Russia's nuclear weapons doctrine is currently being clarified. So that's pretty concerning. Clarified so they can use them against Ukraine, okay, which I've been saying for over 2 years that this war is going to end with mushroom clouds over Ukraine. I hate to say that, but I really truly feel that that's what's going to end up happening. And the Secretary General of NATO convened an emergency meeting of the NATO alliance at the request of Ukraine today. And apparently Russia used cluster munitions against civilian objects in Ukraine during Monday's massive missile strike. And Zelensky said that Ukraine successfully tested its first ballistic missile, guys. Okay, Ukraine now has functioning ballistic missiles. Okay, that is insane. So you see where this is going? Okay, it's just going to keep escalating and escalating and escalating until nukes start to fly. Okay, it's not if, it's when. And Zelensky also said that Ukraine is preparing a response to Sunday night's massive missile attack involving F-16s. He said he has already spoken with Ukraine's top general, Alexander Syrsky, about it. So Zelensky wants to use F-16s to retaliate against Russia for that massive strike on Sunday night and Monday morning. And Ukraine can only expect to receive additional Polish MiG-29 fighter jets once Poland receives its F-35s as replacements. Polish Defense Minister Władysław Kamysz said yesterday in response to Zelensky's call for Poland to provide additional MiG-29s. Okay, so Poland's not going to give more MiGs until they get their F-35s, which they should be getting in the coming months. And the U.S. State Department is urging U.S. citizens not to travel to Uman in Ukraine for the annual pilgrimage to the grave of Rebbe Nachman during Rosh Hashanah. That's pretty interesting. And Russia responded to Ukraine's acquisition of ATACMS by moving most of its aircraft beyond the missile's range, an unnamed official told the Wall Street Journal, citing a U.S. intelligence report. And the governor of the Belgorod region has confirmed that there was an attempt by the Ukrainian military to break through the border. And Ukraine now has taken control of 1,300 square kilometers and 100 settlements in the Kursk region of Russia, according to Alexander Syrsky, the top general of the Ukrainian military. And Ukraine has announced that it will be building a new nuclear power plant with 4 American AP-1000 Westinghouse reactors. The nuclear power plant will be built at the Trychrin site in the Cherkasy Oblast. Okay, so pretty interesting. And Ukrainian drones hit an oil depot in Russia's Kirov Oblast, over 1,200 kilometers away from Ukraine. So, guys, the situation is escalating. Here we have a tweet from Prime Minister Modi of India. He wrote yesterday, spoke with President Putin today, discussed measures to further strengthen special and privileged strategic partnership, exchanged perspectives on the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and my insights from the recent visit to Ukraine, reiterated India's firm commitment to support an early, abiding, and peaceful resolution of the conflict. Okay, so India is not backing Russia against Ukraine. Okay, India wants this war to end. China wants this war to end. And Russia is still fighting and still going on. And they're not going to get support from these countries like Putin thought. Putin thought, oh yeah, I'm just going to, get support from my buddies in Asia. No, it's not going to work that way, because China actually wants to see Russia collapse. So this way China can take Russia's resources in Siberia and either invade Russia and take Siberia away once Russia collapses and splits apart and balkanizes into multiple republics. China could then go in and conquer eastern and central Siberia, or they can just buy everything out like they're doing here in America with farmlands in the Midwest. And we have some more sub hunters off the coast of Washington State today. Here you can see a P-8 Poseidon and an aerial refueler here. Another sub hunter off the coast of North Carolina near Cape Hatteras. And then we had this B-52 airborne yesterday, a nuclear bomber that was aerially refueled over Arkansas. And we had an E-3 AWACS plane flying in southern Turkey close to Syria and Lebanon yesterday. And then we had this U.S. Navy reconnaissance drone off the coast of Syria and Lebanon. So a lot of stuff going on, guys. And I will be in and out of the 24/7 stream. I will be going away to Poland next weekend, and I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. During that time, I'm not going to be able to post these updates every single day, but I am going to be setting up the 24/7 streams from Poland, so that way at least we can have those going, and I will just be posting mostly outdoors, hunting, and firearms content while I'm in Poland. But that's it for now, guys. I'll see you on the next one or in the live stream. Thanks for all your support. Take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.